So we have to talk about the New England Patriots because, man, we have quite a show that developed yesterday in the first preseason game. We also have to talk about Juju Smith-Schuster and how the team has released him just a day after their first preseason game. And what does that mean for the New England Patriots moving forward? But before we get to that, we have to talk about what everybody is kind of talking about when it comes to the Patriots. That is Drake Maye versus Joe Milton. And of course, Jacoby Brissett, he played fine. But the real guys people want to talk about is Drake Maye and Joe Milton. Now, Drake Maye, of course, third overall pick in the draft. Joe Milton, sixth round pick, I believe 193rd pick in the draft. So very, very different draft positions. But we have seen this before where maybe the guy drafted second, like Kirk Cousins over RG3, may be the guy long term. So when you take a look at the game, Drake Maye played well. He only played one possession. So we only seen one series out of Drake Maye. Went 2 for 3, probably could have gone 3 for 3. I mean, the ball was right there. It wasn't a terrible pass. Receiver wasn't able to come down with the catch. Other two completions, pretty much checkdowns. It was a slip screen, low checkdowns to the running back. So I really didn't see much from Drake Maye. So the jury is still out. And I think, as we get further into the preseason, people are going to want to see Drake Maye in extended action and kind of see what he has. But what he's shown is just a composed, calm quarterback, has solid intangibles. He's ready, to make the throws when they are available. And he doesn't seem like the moment's too big so far, right? It doesn't seem like he isn't prepared for this moment or situation. Pretty much expected Drake Maye to somewhat look like this, right? Doesn't have the highest ceiling of all the quarterbacks, in my opinion, but he is a safe pick. I don't think he's going to be a bad quarterback. Now, the opposite is happening with Joe Milton because his ceiling, I believe, is higher than Drake Maye. Now, just looking at the eye test, he has a better arm in terms of just he could throw the ball 100 yards, right? Like he has a cannon of an arm. Does struggle with accuracy issues. Didn't seem like the moment was too bright for him neither. I mean, he had those moments where he was composed and calm in the pocket. He also had those moments where he was extending plays and using his legs. And that's the Joe Milton that everybody knows from, especially his Tennessee days. Didn't see much of it, at Michigan, but definitely his Tennessee days. You've seen that. You've seen him be composed, have that rocket arm, miss some throws occasionally, but the ceiling is there. I mean, he had an electric performance compared to Drake Maye that was more subdued, right? Not saying it was bad, just a more subdued performance. It was what you expected out of Drake Maye. So I think when you look at who's going to be the guy, we need more time. We need more time. And of course, that's not the answer everybody wants to hear, but you are going to need more time. You're going to need to put Joe Milton through the fire. He looked really good last night. We're going to see if he can continue to do that, right? Because, real NFL defenses, that's not as cookie cutter as preseason defenses, where they're trying to disguise, they're trying to, mess you up. They have film to kind of watch and study and prepare. They're going to be a little bit different. But I will say, just from the initial look at it and from what we've heard in training camp, Joe Milton is definitely in the running. I don't think it's a clear cut Drake Maye is the guy. I think there's a real chance that Joe Milton could potentially be the guy. I think he has just a bigger variance, a lower floor than Drake Maye, a potential higher ceiling. Are we gambling? Are we betting on Joe Milton hitting that ceiling? That is ultimately going to be the big question. So I think Drake Maye could be very well a solid NFL starting quarterback. Joe Milton could either be a terrible starting quarterback or he could be a good starting quarterback and anything in between. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see. Now, one thing that's also interesting is what is New England doing with the wide receiver position? Because they haven't really figured it out. Since they gave Juju Smith-Schuster the contract, he hasn't really performed. And remind you, just a reminder, he got the contract over Jacoby Myers, who, of course, hasn't really done fantastic stuff with the Raiders. But you kind of miss him a little bit if you're the Patriots and you're Patriots fans, right? Because Juju just hasn't been that good since he's been in New England. He's lacking the explosiveness. He's lacking, the ability to run after the catch. He's not getting that separation. He's always been known to his credit. He's always been known more of a possession guy, more so than an explosive receiver. But it looks like even then he's lost some of that step to get some type of space. Now he's still relatively young at 27 years old. Not like Juju is an old over the hill type of wide receiver. He's been in the league a long time. Because remember, he was one of the youngest guys in the NFL when he came out in the draft. But you look at it, they're eating a $9.6 million cap hit, I believe. So this is not a salary situation where they're saving money. I think they're giving him a fair shot to try to land with another team because they realized that wasn't going to work. And when you look at the game last night, he got it in their first couple possessions, but they didn't even attempt to scheme anything for him to try to get him the football. He was just more so just out there. And when you look at who could have been getting those reps, right? It could have been a Jalen Pope. Like he could have been out there trying to impress or do something, but instead, Juju is out there taking those reps. So I think this is more of a decision by New England to just remove him from the equation. So you can give the younger guys those reps because when you look at this New England Patriots depth chart and you want to kind of see, where are they going to go with this, is literally a situation where they have the younger guys and they got to figure it out, right? Jalen Polk, I think, definitely is going to be probably the leader of that receiving group. But what are you going to do with Kendrick Bourne? Is he going to be the guy, right? We don't really know. He's injured right now. It's going to be Tyquan Thornton. It's going to be Butte that steps up, takes that place. Remember, Jalen Rager's on the team as well. Demario Douglas, obviously different position, different roles, but you got to figure out who's going to be the guy. We heard them in talks for Brandon Ayuk. We don't know if that trade's going to get done. It looks like Brandon Ayuk's preferred destination is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you got to get those guys reps. And I think releasing Juju now is a plus because if you weren't going to use him, you didn't think he was going to make the final roster, or you didn't think he was just the best fit for you, releasing him now does give Juju the benefit of having time to get with the team, get, familiar with the situation and try to earn playing time or try to earn a roster spot that way instead of, post preseason cuts. And now, can I get in? Can I get familiar? Can I get a role in a week or so? Right. So this definitely is a benefit to Juju. It's a benefit to the Patriots as well, because you get the younger guys, the reps. And at this stage, that is the most important part, is getting those reps. It's going to be very important for the quarterback battle, right? Between Brissett, Drake Maye, Joe Milton. I think Bailey Zappi's kind of out of there, but reps are important. That is the most important part of this entire month of football. It's just reps, live reps, practice reps, but you really want to get out there and get familiar with the teammates, get action, especially if you're young. You want to get that live action. And by getting Juju out of there, it now opens up space. Now, of course, Juju is going to be a guy that I think teams are going to be interested in. I don't think he'll be a free agent very long. How much he has left, how much can he contribute to a team, that remains to be seen. But I think that is why they went with this direction. So we'll see what happens with New England. What are your guys' thoughts about Juju being released and the receiver group for New England is looking, younger side, not as experienced. They're still trying to make up and recover from not having Jacoby Myers and going with Juju. But again, that situation probably is why they were able to draft Drake Maye 3rd overall. But then in that situation, how are you guys feeling about Drake Maye? We just haven't seen him enough, in my opinion. I have not been, watching. I'm not a Patriots guy, so I'm not watching all of the offseason. But you hear rumblings that Joe Milton, he has clearly the better arm, but he's more inconsistent. Drake Maye has been solid so far, hasn't shown greatness, but he's been solid from what we're hearing. I think we need to see more action from those two. Do any of them ultimately take over from Jacoby Brissett this season? That is the real question, because I think Brissett for sure will be the starter week 1. But as you progress through the season, depending on how the season is going, do you go ahead and give one of the young guys a shot, or do you sit both of them in favor of Jacoby Brissett? So let me know how you guys feel about this New England Patriots situation, the quarterback battle, and the receiver situation with Juju being released. As usual, hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. I'm see y'all next time. Peace.